Hi guys, it's Wednesday, and that means we're talking books on the old YouTubes. Today, I'm going to talk about how critically important it is that if you are going to self-publish your book, you hire a professional proofreader to take a look at it. When you're self-publishing, you have all these budgetary considerations, you have all these different things, there's all these different component parts, which I've been trying to break down for you in my video series so that you can understand them better. And I've told you in the past, there are steps that you can kind of cut the corner on, and there are things you can kind of do yourself, but there are certain things that you can never do yourself, and proofreading is one of them. Your proofreader is a professional, and they should have never seen your book before. I don't want you to think that your sister can proofread it if she was your beta reader. I don't want you to think that you can hire one editor to do a DE, a CE, and a proofread on your book, because that is not how it works. Proofreading is almost mathematical in its precision. My first job out of college with my little old English degree was as a proofreader, and that was an excellent training ground for me. But proofing is not editing, and it is not designing, and it is not writing, and it is not anything else. Proofreading is proofreading. Our brains do a lot of favors for us in the course of a day. They fill in a lot of information so that we don't have to spend so much time processing. It's the reason why you can send an email with two thes right next to each other in a sentence. You don't see that second the. Your brain skips over it. Your brain sees it as extraneous information, not critical to keep me from being eaten by something, so I don't see it. Your brain glosses over it. The proofreader is trained to go against that brain autofill, as it were, and see that second the. If you've ever taken a proofreading test, it's a fun challenge. To some of us, it just kind of comes naturally. I'm the person who used to go to restaurants once upon a time. Maybe we'll be able to go again soon. And see all the errors in the menu. It's a skill set, and it's a mindset, and it's something that you have to be trained in. You don't just wake up one day and become a proofreader. You have to be trained in this. I had several proofreading jobs before I started freelance proofreading, and I still freelance proofread. I do a lot of book development editing. I do that. That's the bulk of my work, but I still freelance proofread, and I do that for very important reasons. I do that because it is its own skill set, and it's one of those things, where it's use it or lose it. I want to keep all of my skills sharp, so I occasionally will take a strictly proofreading project, and this keeps me sharp. It keeps me thinking in that other mindset of where's that second the. And so it's really, 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 how many reallys are in there, important that you get a proofreader, because as you produce a book, and I've explained this to you before, you write it, you get a beta reader, you get it development edited, you get it copy edited, you get it laid out by a book designer, or if you're brave enough, you lay it out yourself. That last gate before you hit publish, before you put this thing out into the world, has to be a proofreader. It has to be. They should be someone who's never seen your work before, because the more you read a text, the more your brain does that autofill thing, and you miss things. I never proofread my own work, point of fact, ever. And if I try to proofread it myself, I guarantee you I'm going to miss something. And I'm a sharp editor. It's just how the brain functions. We don't see it when it's our own. Proofreaders, there are so many good ones, and there are so many good places to find them. Let's see. Editorial Freelancers Association. Upwork is a good place. Upwork is actually a really excellent place to find proofreaders. Twitter, LinkedIn, all those searches that you did to find your DE. And actually, if you've already hired a DE, I'm betting you good money that if you ask them, hey, do you know any professional proofreaders? They've probably got a list of 5 or 6 that they could send you to, that they've worked with and they recommend themselves. So, proofreading it's God bless proofreaders, because they save us from ourselves. I don't know how many times I've edited a book and later found an embarrassing typo in it because I didn't catch it. That's what the proofreader is there to do. The proofreader is going to make sure that every word is spelled correctly, They're going to make sure that all the proper names that you listed in your book are spelled correctly. They're going to make sure that every page has a header and a footer and a page number if that's how your book is designed. They're going to make sure that there are no weird breaks in text. They're going to look for readability issues, all those different kinds of things, and you go through the editing process. You get a manuscript that's really, really clean, and you give it to your designer, and you think, okay, I don't need anybody else to look at this because I've already had, this thing edited. If your designer is having an off day, they can do a layout weird. They can miss an odd break somewhere. Most designers, most book designers who are worth their salt, they will check through the pages before they send them to you. But they are not proofreaders, and they are not grammarians, and they are not spell checks. They're looking for design elements, which is what you want them to do. So for the text, you really have to have a proofreader. If a designer sneezes in the middle of a paragraph, you can get a weird break in there. It just happens. Anytime that human hands touch your book, that's a potential error that can be introduced into it. It's just a fact of life. Since we're all still human beings here and the robots haven't taken over yet, it is always, 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 how many always can I say? Critical that you get a proofreader on your book. I would never, ever skip this step, never in a million years. I get freelancer or self-publishers who say, well, I paid for this and I paid for that and I did that and I did that, and do I have to do this too? Yes, you have to do this too. And trust me, you will be so relieved that you did, because they will find 6 things, I guarantee it. And you will do the, oh, how did that get through there? I read it. My wife read it. My secretary read it. My daughter read it. My dog read it. How did we miss this? It happens. It just happens. Accept it as a fact of life and move on. Then you send it back to your page designer, or if you're your own page designer, you fix those corrections yourself. And then you have it checked again. That's the other thing too. Because once again, if you remember the rule, anytime human hands touch your book, there's a potential error induction. So I say that, 2 rounds of proofs is appropriate for most books. You're going to have that first proofread. They're going to find 30 things. Don't get mad at your copy editor. Don't get mad at your DE. Don't get mad at your dog. Proofreaders are going to find things that everybody else along the line missed. That's why this is a chain of people. That's why you have a team when you're self-publishing. And they're going to find those things, and then your designer's going to fix them, and then you're going to look again. And usually by 2 rounds of proofs, you're pretty much good to go. You just don't want to put all this effort into a book and have it go out into the world and find an embarrassing typo on page 5 because you didn't get a proofreader. So take my advice on this one. Always get a proofreader. Have you gotten how important this step is? Have I emphasized that clearly enough to you in these 8 minutes? Well, I'll say it again. Always get a proofreader. As usual, if you have questions about this, you can shoot me an email, leave a comment here on YouTube. I'd love that. Or tweet me. I'm at Cincy Bookworm, and I live on Twitter because I don't go anywhere. So yeah, get a proofreader. And if you have questions, ask them. Happy reading, keep writing, and stay tuned. We'll see you next time.